Coming up tonight on Delmarva Sports Insider, a heavyweight battle between two title contenders. Undefeated Delmar and 7-2 Woodbridge battle it out in Greenwood.
And Cambridge South Dorchester opened up their playoff run hosting a familiar foe in Perryville. Those highlights coming up.
That's right, and the 50th annual Battle of the Bell, and it was a battle between Milford and Lake Forest. All the kickers watching right now, I want you to stand up. It's your world, folks. We're just living in it.
And with that, welcome into Delmarva Sports Insider playoffs in Maryland. Final week of action in Delaware. All the highlights right here. I'm Julian Sador alongside Sports Director Trayvon Miles, and we'll hear from Jenna Restuccio in just a bit.
That's exactly right. Welcome to your new favorite show. Of course, the only show here on the shore will give you in-depth analysis to all sports, mainly right now. We're talking about football.
We are talking about football, and as you mentioned, the final week of action in Delaware, and arguably the biggest game.
The entire state.
Everybody was looking. It was Delmar as they put their undefeated streak up against Woodbridge.
That's exactly right. A battle of the last two Division II state champions, with the defending champs riding a 20-game win streak into this one. So 20 straight for Delmar. They know how to win. Looking for another South crown in their way. Yeah, the 2016 D2 champions, Woodbridge. The Blue Raiders looking to avenge last year's Henlopen South Championship. First quarter, Troy Haynes dialing one up to Richard Massey, 54 yards. First score of the game gives Woodbridge the lead. Now, Delmar's starting quarterback, A.J. Angelo, would leave the game with an injured left ankle, so Jacob Von Arts takes over. He's going to throw a pick to Gabe Westcott. He's going to take it all the way inside the 50-yard line. That would eventually set up another Massey score. That one would be from 5 yards out. Woodbridge would lead 12-0 at the half. Delmar would try to get back into this game. They tried their best, but it did not happen. Woodbridge coming away with a 25-0 win tonight. They finished the regular season at 8-2, and they are your Henlopen South champions. Jeff Harris was actually there in Greenwood, and he has more from Woodbridge High School.
Hey, Trey, now I don't think anybody could have really predicted, aside from the Blue Raider fans, of course, what we saw here in Greenwood tonight. Woodbridge and the Blue Raiders dominating Delmar on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Now, not much of a rushing attack from either side of the ball. A little strange because you have a game featuring Tayshawn Denard for Delmar and Jamon Kane, of course, for Woodbridge, and you didn't have much rushing yards. But for Woodbridge, when you have Troy Haynes connecting with Richard Massey on almost every offensive drive, it's absolutely a recipe for success. Now, I caught up with Massey after the game. Here's what he had to say.
We've been practicing all week. We were prepared for this offense. Like, we were watching them step by step on film. People would be at home watching film like me. Like, we was ready for the game since 7 o'clock. We was already pumped up.
Yeah, this is huge. To win a conference championship on the last game of the season. So, I'm pleased. Our kids, they showed up and, they played hard. They scrapped from the end. We're both in terrible conditions, and they didn't let it bother them, and kept them out of the end zone, which was huge. I don't know when the last time that happened was, but, it was a great effort, so I'm just proud of our kids.
Now, Trey, there's actually a lot of playoff implications from this game earlier tonight. With a loss, Woodbridge would have potentially locked up that 8th seed in the Division II playoffs. With a win, Delmar would have headed into the playoffs 10-0 with that undefeated record, locking up that 1 seed. But since Woodbridge captured the Henlopen South Championship and Delmar, of course, fell to 9-1, we could potentially see a 4-5 matchup between the two schools next week. A lot of games this weekend are going to actually prove to be a major factor into deciding the seedings, but a little bit later on in the weekend, when these polls and when these rankings are released, we should see the bracket, and potentially we're going to see a rematch of this game just next week. So, this could just be round 1 of what we could see round 2 later on next week. Reporting in Greenwood, Jeff Harris, 47, ABC.
Well, Trey, obviously a tough loss for Delmar, but I got to ask you, with their quarterback, A.J. Angelo, going out, is there any worry about this Delmar team who was so hot heading into a possible rematch with the playoffs on the line?
Yeah, well, A.J. Angelo was a guy that was out last year, and they kind of rode that wave with Dante Trader Jr. behind center, and they also the Von Arks, young man Von Arks behind center. So I think there were some interchangeable parts with Delmar. I will say, unbelievable effort by Woodbridge. I do not think that they are 25 points better than Delmar. They might be 25 points better than Delmar at home and on this night. But if we see this this potential playoff matchup flipped around in the games in Delmar, who knows what could happen? Or a neutral site game, who knows what could happen. I really think that this was a product of them being home.
Let me ask you this. With Delmar being undefeated, is there anything that goes on with maybe you need a game to lose before playoffs? Does that help you out?
Possibly, but I think they were riding high after this 20-game win streak, man. But you know what? There's also a lot of pressure behind a 20-game win streak. You know what I mean? So, and all that pressure kind of just came crashing down, and that's why I think you see the score how it was. You know what I mean? Instead of a close game, you know, all that pressure just kind of collapsed into one. So a pretty good game, and for more on that game, we're going to send it to the wall to Jonah Versuccio.
All right, Trey, a lot of great plays in this one, but this is the one that stood out to me. We didn't get a chance to see it in that highlight tape, but Woodbridge inside of the 5-yard line and the pitch outside to Richard Massey with the power run to the right, getting a load of blockers with him. But when we take another look at it, check out these circles. We get the block there, channeling him to the right, and then another block from another offensive lineman pulling over, powering his way into the end zone. It was a big night for Massey, and Woodbridge utilized some great blocking against a stellar Delmar defense that you saw set up that hole for Massey. You see it on the inside and then again on the outside. Massey, he had the receiving touchdown to go along with that rushing touchdown, and obviously a big turning point in what led to the Blue Raiders coming out on top. But we digress. A lot of rivalries going on in the first state that we can't forget about. So, of course, we have to start with one of the biggest. Thousands showing out for this one. Schools separated by just a few miles. Caesar Rodney in Dover. Not a good start for the Senators, though. Errant snap goes right past Jordan McGee's head. I don't think he was paying attention. And into the end zone for a safety. So the Riders go up 2-0. But the Senators have this guy. I think you might have heard of him. He used to be a Delmarva Sports Insider Player of the Week. Javon Peace. Here he goes, 80 yards on his first touch. Senators go for 2, but they don't get it to take the 6-2 lead. So next Dover possession, and here's that man again, Javon Peace, his 3rd touch of the game, and he's going for his 2nd touchdown. He had 5 on the night as Dover ends their season 9-1 with the 41-2 win over Caesar Rodney. And over in Felton, it's a battle of the bell. Lake Forest hosting Milford in their 50th meeting ever. Fast forward to the second half. Lake up 28-14, but Milford coming back. Rodney Robinson, the big man, takes it in untouched 5 yards for the score to cut it just to a 1-possession game. So a few Milford possessions later, and it's Rayshawn Price taking it around the outside for the game-tying score. But a holding call voids the touchdown for the Bucks. So that one's coming back, plus an extra 10 yards. So make it 2nd and 20. But if it works once, why not try it again? Handoff this time goes to Jabriah Luke, and he's going to take it 19 yards for the equalizer. No flags, and we have a tied ball game. So time ticking down in regulation, and Lake trying to get in field goal range. 4th down, and Chiron Salandi keeping the play alive and hits Jaden Rivera to convert on 4th down. So with 5 seconds left, Spartans looking for the win. Kicker Cade Collins hits the 32-yarder for the win, for the brand. Kickers matter too. Lake takes the bell over Milford, 31-28. So over to Lewis. Sussex Tech looking to keep their playoff hopes alive, visiting rival Cape Henlopen. Early stages of the first quarter, and Cape finds themselves in 4th and long on their own 30. A muff snap lands all the way back at the 25, so that's where Tech will take over. In a few plays later, they capitalize on it. Michael Norsworthy barreling his way into the end zone. Tech goes up 14-0 after the 2-point conversion. So next Cape drive and more ball control issues. A fumble on the ground, and Kevin Custis, he's going to scoop it up. Another former Delmarva Sports Insider Player of the Week. He's in for another Ravens score. Cape finally getting a little momentum. They're in Ravens territory, but the pass is picked off by Dakari Beasley. 51-yard pick 6 for him. Now wait for it, we're going to keep you here on this video just a bit. We saw Parkside's turnover chain earlier this year, but what about Sussex Tech's turnover belt? Tech handles their rival with a huge win on their senior night. So to Laurel, Lions Club Cup rivalry. Bulldogs hosting Seaford. Sloppy one because of the rain. Blue Jays' Isaiah Lake on the pitch falls into the puddle, and it's another scoop and score. This one by sophomore Robert Malone, 7-0 Bulldogs. And it will remain sloppy all night long. The rain and the mud causing issues as the botched handoff is recovered by Laurel, and then another one falls into the dirt. This was just ugly. My shoes are still wet from it. Seaford down 7 still, resorting to the air. Preston Hitchens soaring in for the pick to seal the win. Bulldogs take the Lions Cup trophy for the 15th straight year. Low scoring one, 7-0. And this one from last night, Thursday night football in the Henlopen Conference. Sussex Central hosting Indian River. Central looking to end their season with 9 straight wins, and this one got ugly quick. Already leading 14-0. Isaac Barnes connects with his brother Isaiah on the far sideline, And the Barnes brothers, I think we hear their name so much on this show. They strike again, 21-0. Then following an Indian River fumble, Sussex Central would take over, and inside the 50 they would capitalize. Barnes finds Dominique Smith, who keeps his balance into the end zone. That's another 45 yards on the night from Barnes, and they still weren't done. Well, remember, we're still in the first quarter. Barnes with a screen pass to Javon Toppin makes a man miss, and he's gone from there. 34-yard touchdown is the Golden Knights shutout IR 63-0, and congrats to Mr. Barnes, who hit the 1,000-yard passing mark on the night. Trey, what do we got?
We got the lone other game going on in the Henlopen Conference. Smyrna all over Polytech by a final of 58-6. Wayne Knight, the freshman brother of Smyrna legend Will Knight, with 3 touchdowns in the victory, but the back-to-back-to-back state champions are completely out of the state tournament.
That's a shocker that we're actually talking about Smyrna not being
out of it, right? Yeah.
in the playoffs. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, with the regular season wrapping up and now our eyes are directed towards the playoffs, what did you take away from the Delaware teams heading into the postseason?
I take away the fact that Sussex Central has won 9 straight. They have not lost since the 8th of September. That's amazing in itself. I also take away the fact that Woodbridge, how do you close out the season after a 1-2 start? You win 7 straight games. That is how you enter the playoffs, and that is a very dangerous team. 2 of the hottest teams entering the playoffs right now. I also want to say Sussex Tech needs a lot of help, but if they get into the playoffs, they can definitely make some noise.
There you go. So a lot of stuff to look forward to in terms of playoffs next week. A lot of action. And we're not done with the action yet, Trey. We got more football coming up, right?
That's exactly right. Cambridge with a familiar foe in Perryville coming to town. Those highlights when Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
Hi, my name is Fred Johnson, head coach at Lake Forest High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.